Power of Haun's girl. I mean, I will say, going into episodes 11, 12, and 13, and hearing them start saying shit like late surger and pace chaser, I was like, I know those words. I know that.
I've learned.
Yeah, like, is this what it's been to be a fan the whole time?
I guess so. See, that thing that I need to do now is go watch the movies, because the movies have the most bonkers animation ever. Because, once again, side games is too much money.
Yeah, true.
So, see, can I get? It's not good. Yeah. This is Agnes Tachyon doing Agnes Tachyon bullshit. See, her outfit's like a scientist outfit, and that's rad as fuck in my opinion. That's not even like her actual race outfit. That's her like kind of race outfit.
We're live.
Hello.
Hello.
We're on D Live. We're live with the finale of the Spring 2025 podcast. That's right. We're going to be doing podcast stuff, specifically about the Spring 2025 newly airing anime, 3 of which have survived our gauntlet of 11 shows. Those 3 shows, we're going to talk about them in the order that they come in, is Umamusume, Cinderella Grey, not the mobile game. It's going to come up in conversation probably, but...
No.
Well, no, I'm going to try not to mention it.
No.
It's gonna happen.
I know what you mean. None of us play mobile games like that, right, guys? Like, no.
Yeah,
one,
I played on
no
my
one has
computer.
the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Umamusume, Cinderella Grey, My Hero Academia, Vigilantes, and To Be Hero X. Now, there is a thing we have to address real quick. We have watched all 13 episodes for Umamusume and Vigilantes. 3 of us have watched to episode 12 of To Be Hero X. And John watched 13 to bite the bullet for us to decide whether or not it was a better or worse stopping place. And we decided episode 12 was probably the better stopping place. So that's where the rest of us stopped. So we're only going to be talking up to episode 12 of To Be Hero X. Yeah. So how this works is we're going to loosely, vaguely, with as much and as little detail as possible, talk about the things that happened in the 3, 3, and 2 episodes of the shows we watched. And then we're gonna talk about those episodes as thoughts on them, and then we're gonna talk about thoughts as a whole for the show. And then when we're done with that for each of the shows, I'm gonna send out the voting document. And the voting document's really simple.
Uh-oh.
The voting document, each of the shows is there, and we can each choose the number 1, 2, or 3. If we choose 1, the show is ranked number 1 and it gets 3 points. If we choose 2, it is ranked 2, it gets 2 points. If we choose 3, if we choose 3, it is ranked 3, it gets 1 point. That's how that works. It makes sense.
It's only complicated
real
because
simple.
you put numbers because you call it rank 1, not first.
I don't call it first, second, or third. I do 1, 2, 3. Yeah,
you're a fucking monster.
Cause that's how I've always done it. I refuse to change.
Oh, I know.
I refuse to change. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty fucking straightforward. It's not like I jumbled the numbers for you, too. That'd be insane. If it was like, vote 1, 2, 3, vote 2, 3, 1, vote 3, 1, 2. Sean, why did you do
this?
this?
A different number.
And then I make you really have to
It's a
think about
minigame.
what you're doing. Yeah.
It's a minigame. What's even better is that he also makes all of them multi-select, not like pick one.
Yeah,
so you can pick all
could.
3 choices if you really wanted to on one show.
I don't know why
So,
I do it like that.
What Sean needs to do is do something like
Why do I
Like
do
me
it?
saying,
Why,
no.
why do I do it like that? Hold on.
I don't know, Sean. Why do you do it like that? That's just always been a thing. Is that you could select all of them.
Do I do that for the Save or Slay every week as well?
No. Those
Okay,
you can
those
only
I
pick
do it
one.
right.
This
Yeah,
one
as
in
you
particular
should.
has the squares, which means you can pick multiple of that.
Why do I do that?
You
Is
probably picked the wrong thing the first time you made one of these voting docs, and then haven't changed it, because why would you think to change it?
Interesting.
Because all you do is you take the old voting doc, change the name, and change the name of the 3 shows. You don't make new docs, probably. Because that'd be crazy. I do like Ferd Toost and Thurnd.
First two.
Yeah.
Toost.
Toost.
Lord Foog the Toost.
Threend.
Anyway.
Yeah, but while we tally up the votes when that happens, I will pull out the spreadsheet and I will talk about stats for the season. And then we'll talk about the results, how it happened. A person will be crowned an anime king of the season, yada yada. They get no benefits for this besides a Discord role that does nothing. And then we will end stream, and then we will start stream again, and there will be a surprise for everybody. And we will pick shows for the summer 2025 season. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess we can do this first, because it's the thing I always do. We typically don't do what we've been up to for this part of, for this episode of the podcast, because, it's the fucking finale. We should probably just talk about anime. But what I do always throw out is, did anybody finish any of the shows that weren't our top 3?
I didn't finish any of them because the dubs aren't finished for Once Upon a Witch's Death's dub isn't finished and Mono's isn't finished. But I watched the next episode of each of those.
I still have not watched the rest of Witch Watch, but I was keeping up on that, like I had mentioned. And if we want to get real technical, I did continue a show. It's just from a different season of the podcast. I watched the first episode of Don season today.
I mean, I plan to do that. I plan to do that for most of our shit that's coming out this season. That is podcast adjacent.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at you, starts the list. Dawn to Dawn, Kaiju number 8, Call of the Night, My Dress Up Darling.
Right.
Anything else? Am I forgetting anything else?
Probably. There's like 20 or something sequels coming out this season.
Yeah.
16 something.
16.
If you want to get technical, I think there's more. I think I didn't count a couple of things that should have been counted. Like I don't think I counted Panty and Stocking in that original count, so I think it's actually like 17, 18.
Did you count Arknights in that?
No.
Because that one is a sequel.
Yeah.
Also, the Dark Knight seasons are all 8 episodes. It wouldn't have been allowed anyway. It's not long enough.
It's crazy. This is impossible. This doesn't happen. I finished a show. I never finish shows. I don't finish anime I watch on my own time, let alone stuff for the podcast, outside of the things that I
would have
mandatory
finished
required
the show.
to. Yeah,
just
you
didn't
would have.
have its final episode dubbed.
I finished Once Upon a Witch's Death today. I really like that. I'm gonna say this. This is not to one of our shows' fault. This is not one of our show's fault this season. It's not done airing. Once Upon a Witch's Death might have my favorite ending of an ending of all of the shows I finished for this season. It ends really cleanly. And it sets up for its next arc really cleanly. There's another show I'll talk about that I think does an equally phenomenal job of that, out of our top 3. But I won't say a lot of things because Michael's gonna watch it, and Mason might,
Probably,
John
if I
might, who
remember.
knows? We'll see.
I probably will.
You get some really wonderful stuff out of Meg in the last 2 episodes. Michael got a little bit of it.
Yeah. See, again, it is weird hearing you say it has a really good ending, because I got out of episode 11 and went, now what are they going to do in 12 to, like, place us at an ending? Because, boy, does that feel like where it should have just... Yeah, and end the story there for now. Then we continue off into new stuff next.
They literally do a send-off for, like, the entire season that you've had.
Okay.
And they explain, if you're, like, they explain, hey, this is what the next arc of the manga is gonna be, I assume, if you were reading it, and so this will be what the next arc of the anime is, and I really like it. Timetable-wise, I think it's literally halfway through her curse lifespan. I think she's
Yeah.
6 months through. So like you have 6 months at the start and 6 months now. And they run back to a couple of things that were mentioned in some earlier episodes, that weren't really further addressed, that are really interesting.
Okay.
There is some stuff that comes up in the Aquamarine stuff that they they don't touch upon in the rest of the arc that they then come back to, because it was important. I would say I think episode 11 for Once Upon a Witch's Death it's Once Upon a Witch's Death. I feel like the resolution... There are 2 resolutions in episode 11, which is crazy. They solve 2 different problems, seemingly unconnected. I don't believe that. Excuse me, I don't believe that, but apparently we're supposed to believe they're unconnected. One of them feels a lot more, I guess, well-written than the other one, because they explain it pretty well how it gets there. The other one, they just kind of go, yeah, we're just doing this. And I'm like, sure. I trust you. This is how you've always done it, so...
Yeah.
I could say this because Michael's gotten here, and it seems like the two of you might not be as interested. They do reveal in episode 11 how Meg has managed to do things that other mages do not, is that she is emotional. She's in tune with her emotions. She uses the power of emotions, love, hatred, all of it. It is a little funny. I won't lie. She's gonna become the sage.
The power of friendship.
She's gonna become the sage of friendship. the sage of emotion.
Incredible.
Certified empath.
Really?
Yeah. I think you'll like what the next episode does, Michael.
I probably will.
Yeah. Once it gets
Wasn't
dubbed.
dubbed that I didn't feel like watching it.
Once it gets
I was
dubbed.
like I'll watch the whole show dubbed up to this point. I'll finish it that way.
Yeah, but I don't have much else to say about it besides I had a good time with it. Let's let me get what I need to get. Michael,
You're not gonna believe this.
What, John?
I watched another baseball game this week.
I do believe you.
We drove down to Cleveland and back and watched Tigers game on the 4th of July. It was really fun.
Congrats. Hey, Michael. Umamusume.
Yeah. Umamusume.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Because we have no power ranking. There are no power rankings for the
Yeah.
final episode.
Yeah, so God, what fucking is exactly these last 3 episodes? Again, the big thing is so episode 11, I believe episode 11, she has to do the race to get into Musaki's like, or whatever. He's like, hey, you gotta win this race. He's like, you gotta win this race, or else I won't let you run in this other one. If you don't win this, you're not gonna be able to do anything in the other one. I believe it's episode 11 is her running that and winning it. Doing the Ogre cap bullshit, taking the outside because she's a silly runner. She does silly things.
The outside.
Yeah, she takes. It gets crazy. Her thing is like everything's like, but what if I pushed even farther to the outside?
Even farther beyond.
Yeah. Yeah, she wins that one.
It's largely
get
built up.
Yeah, and then we also, I think we see Kitahara Joe pop up in this episode. Because he like pops up and like talks to her for a moment. It's also probably on the phone, but like we also throughout all this we get little bits and pieces of gang back home, being silly little guys. The big thing is episode 12 and 13 together are this final race against Tama.
Hey, there are other people here.
I mean, yeah, there are. There's certainly a lot of like really important racers in this group, but boy, none of them matter compared to these. You do have Golden Ruler or whatever her name is. I don't remember. The one who's fucking Golden Queen, so who's the front runner. Don't remember her name. She's important. Yeah, everyone else just kind of gets fucking dogged on.
What?
Because these two are not so bonkers.
How could we forget Long Live Free?
Long Live Free, what a name.
Yeah. Essentially, what this race comes down to is big things come out of this race. Tama is normally within episode 12. we learn like more actual like strategy things about horse racing.
They
that
do
isn't
actually
just-
explain it at the end of the season. It's kind of
crazy.
funny.
It's crazy. It's not just, hey, Ogre, go win the race, go have fun. We learn about the 4 different types of racers, being front runners, pace chasers, late surgers, and end closers. And the big thing with this is that Ogre is, I think she pace chases at the beginning, but settles more into being a late surger. Even though Tama is an end closer, not notably really fucking good at end closing. End closers tend to stay really far back. They start their final burst a little earlier than surgers, but they're farther back to preserve more stamina for the final burst. In this final race, Tama's the biggest fucking silly ever, and decides to pace chase, which is not a thing you don't normally switch strategies like that. That's not what racers do. And essentially what this race ends up coming down to is
It's a hill.
Tama enters the fucking zone. Yeah, that's right. You can't have a sports show without the zone in it, baby. It's here. And she just barely ekes out the win over Ogre at the end. Well, barely. It's like a 4-length lead or something at the end, but like
Thought it was like 1.5.
that was a little longer than that. I don't know. But it's enough that Ogre, it was like she's a good chunk ahead. Also this race has a gimmick, kind of, that this course at the end just has like a really not like a super steep hill, but like over the last 200 meters is a 2-meter incline, which is a big fucking incline.
It is really.
But
It
yeah.
does seem a little silly. I won't lie.
Yeah,
It's really.
the way they visualize it, this looks like a fucking mountain.
I cannot
It's
imagine.
realistically like a slight incline, but it's just the fact that it's an incline at all is not a thing that tends to happen on most courses.
I can't imagine a fucking horse going up that hill.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Ogre ends up losing. But she's like, yeah, it's got to keep running, gotta cook her in the next one. Essentially. And we kind of end up with like, kid, I go, yeah, I'm gonna go get my license, stuff like that. But yeah, it's just going into the next set of races to keep going up.
It was literally just like.
And then also
we face each other next time.
American Horse Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do also get introduced to America.
America.
Yeah, we do. There's like one more assault that we get with Tama, which is there's like essentially you have like the racers that like change, that like lead their generation and define their generation. You see Simboli Rudolph, another racer that I think is Maruzensky. I don't actually know. I don't know the horses well enough. And then you see they're like, Tama will most likely be the one to lead this generation as the horse girl that defines this one, because she has the big thing that is defining this race between Ogre and Tama is this would be Ogre getting her 8th win in a row.
7.
Which would surpass Simboli Rudolph's streak.
Wait, it would be the highest streak ever in this like circuit. And for Tama, she'd be the first horse ever to win both the autumn and spring version of this race in the same year, or spring or whatever the fuck it would. Get 2 of them in a row, which is absolutely bonkers to win that same race twice. That was like the big stakes of this race, and it's a fire race. This show is fucking rad.
It does a really good job setting up the tension between Tama and Ogre in a way that you're not. You feel very heavily it is leading towards Tama with what they're building you, but you never fucking know with a sports show like this how exactly they're gonna spin it. So like even when she enters the zone, there's still like a moment in your mind where you're like, Ogre could still do it. She could still also enter the
She
zone.
got to the zone too.
Yeah.
Especially
Especially because
Zone's not exclusive.
especially because Simboli is like flat out said it. She's like, they could both do it. She's like, before it even happened, she's like, both of them could fucking surpass their boundaries right here, right now. Could be insane. We could watch something bad shoot crazy. So I thought it was, for tension in a final race of a season for something like this, I thought it did a really good job keeping you there for a good chunk of it. Obviously, the more you get of Tama's backstory, the more you feel like she's gonna win. Or the more you're like, oh, they're really gonna fucking set her up and then have her lose. That's crazy. That'd be insane to do. But this show's done insane things before, so, I would not hold it against it. I believe the last episode is where we get, because that's where she breaks into the zone, in episode 13. We get the scene where we get her, like, running out of energy, and everyone's like, she's done for. And then she's like, I was taught to run with my hands. Just fucking throw hands. Just as I run. And that scene, even though I'm making jokes about it, that seems really fucking good. The scene with her and her coach, where she's just a little bean, is a fucking adorable, and I love it. I think the show kills its ending. I think it sets it up really well. I think I think it's as close to a perfect ending for a season as you can get for it. I would be hard pressed. I'd be hard pressed to find something wrong with how this show ended.
Yeah. Something interesting that I really enjoyed about the last couple episodes as well that I noticed. Tamamo and Oguri never actually talk to each other until the race finishes. Like even when they go up on like the press conference together and everything, even when they're walking down the hall together, they never actually talk to one another until after the race is done.
I thought they talked when they went into the hall, I'm not gonna lie.
Nope, they don't say a single word.
Rad.
It's really cool.
I do appreciate, by the way, we finally get someone who fucks up their start. We have an entire season of Horse Girl racing, and not a single goddamn person has a false start or a late start, and then finally someone just beats it in one of the most important races the entire season. It's very good. I also think they do a really good job of setting up, I don't remember her name, but the gold one, who is the front runner for the race. They make her actually seem pretty good. Like, her lead is hefty, and you almost kind of believe she might have a chance until you remember who she's racing against.
And you go, oh wait, it's the fucking creature and the other creature.
It's the creature and the creature with lightning.
Yeah.
Yeah, show good. Like, really stuck its landing. Like, just a good time.
But, and here's my caveat with it. I think of our three shows, this show probably has the lowest highs. Its highs are still good. It's still really good. I still love the bait and switch of Oguri not getting into that race. I still think it's an incredible moment for the show, and I still think this ending's really, really fucking solid. We're gonna talk about it with Vigilantes. I think Vigilantes has its highest high in its last 3 episodes. And I stand by it still that I think To Be Hero had its highest high at the start of the season.
Episodes 1 through 4
are fucking incredible. A masterpiece even. And so that is definitely in my mind going into this, because while I say that for me this probably had the best ending of our 3 shows that we got, that is not to say that I disliked Vigilante's ending or the place we stopped in To Be Hero. Because there's interest, because To Be Hero is complicated with that. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. Again, I had an absolutely fantastic time watching this show. Oguri is such a fun protagonist. Her entire supporting cast. They start off a little on the I don't know side, and they very quickly fall into, oh no, I kind of adore this entire group of them.
Bunch of fucking losers, and I love them.
Yeah.
Every last one.
Yeah.
They're all just little dinguses.
She's on a 6-race win streak. What do you mean you don't count the regional faces? Fucking go to hell. They get so mad.
Norn flipping the camera off.
Yeah.
Or the TV off, excuse me.
Fucking Joe gives her a voodoo doll.
Yeah, it's fire.
That she goes, is this a caterpillar?
What's up, buddy?
Sorry, I was voluntold to put away the pizza, so I had to.
Fair. You want to say anything about Umamusume?
Go fast. Horse girls go fast. I both love and hate the just kidding, the main character can lose. I think it's like good for like the show as like a whole because it makes more sense, right?
Yeah.
Tom Cross is just a more experienced, more talented racer at this time and is like the lead for this generation. And Ogre is very good and very talented, and she will win some races probably over Tomomo at some point. But at the current state they're both at, Tomomo just has that extra edge, and has just like, and really just kind of flexed it too. She didn't even use her strengths here. She said, "You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna do something completely off the ball that I've never done before, just to show that I am the best racer of this generation, and it is not close." At least it's how it feels like to me.
She does it.
Right? And she pulls it off, right? And it's insane. Because the race they're racing at is like the what is the race specifically? Is it the Ari Makainen? Or which one is it? I don't.
It might be.
Like,
I
No.
think I feel like it had a simpler name than that. Michael's gonna find out.
either way, it's like one of the longer tracks. Too.
Yeah.
So the fact that she like didn't like chose to go with like the front running strategy in this race of all time is just like ludicrous for someone who is like an end closer. And so, yeah, no, like, and yes, I have played the mobile game a lot, so I know the terms now, and I know like it actually is like really a big difference in like strategies, and it makes a lot more sense now to me. But yeah, Tomomo was like a sick like rival character. I wish we got more of her earlier on, if that makes sense, because it feels like she's just kind of thrown in at the end as this like rival that like wins, right, to a degree.
I mean,
But it's not
they
necessarily a bad
do.
It
They
is the
do
Tenno
drip-
show.
the
is
Tenno
this
show,
race.
yeah.
So it's
Because it's the
Yeah.
autumn Tenno show.
They do
Okay,
drip
I
feed
know
us
this
her.
now.
They do drip
They
feed
drip-
us her from like even like
They
episode
drip feed us,
5.
like little clips, but like at the same time, it's like not the same when they don't race against each other or like.
That's
Yeah.
true,
Watch shows
but
as
it
much,
it
right?
quite literally is. There is no way for them to race earlier than this. This is like the earliest race that makes sense
I agree.
given their year, the difference in year, and like level that they're at. What I do like is that they tease Tomomo a lot early on that like she is around and she is watching Ogre. And that makes the line from her coach a lot more powerful when she's like, "You've changed because of this girl. Like, you've not, like, you are a different person than you were like 6 months ago." And we know it's because she's fucking been eyeing Ogre. Yeah. One thing I will say, just because I think it's really interesting, I feel like this show is hyping up the Striker a lot. Because,
Yeah.
like, all this huge shit is happening, and she's injured, and she's just watching, and she's not surprised by any of it. And she's just, like, stern-faced, like, excited to get back to racing. I'm like, how fucking insane are you at full
Yeah, it's like
capacity?
especially cause in the segment where they're like, and these are the people that define their generations. They hop for it's like Simboli, other racer shows
Shows that group of
Dicta,
horses.
and then shows Tama
Yeah.
or whatever, or it shows like the two of them as the next section. It's like, oh, she's like really important, but she's just injured right now.
Oh, Ogre's also just along for the ride here, isn't she?
It is really funny in episode 11 when where Ogre is doing the race, that you just have all of the horse girls who are injured just watching in the stands. Just every fucking single one of them has an injury. It's like, calm down, girls. It'll be okay.
Oh yeah, it's because in races like this, they can reach just up to 60 miles per hour. So if they fucking collide, they will actually explode on impact.
There's some serious injury potential.
Fucking, there's the other horse who comes back from overseas, from Europe or the UK, in episode 11, and she fucking kicks two of the girls in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's fucking like dancing and she just fucking does some bullshit.
Yeah, she has the one withdrawal because she fucking literally kicks her in the face. Very funny. Good bit.
Yeah, the show was really good. I give it like an 8.5. I think it's
That's
it's a
about-
good sport show.
That's about
Yeah.
where it falls for me, for sure. I think
It's a sport show that does good sport show things. How I look at it.
I think it falls a little under the 8.5 mark for me.
Maybe an 8, yeah.
But like it's in that range for sure. Is how I felt about it.
And once again, another proven fact that you can just take any like mundane sport or activity and shove cute girls into it, and it will be successful.
Cute girls do well animated things.
Mm-hmm.
We got Spoon in chat.
I still can't get over the fact that we spent an entire scene at one point just progressively aura farming more and more between 5 horse girls. Because that's certainly what the press conference was. It was just progressive more and more aura farm.
Mason, are you ready to talk about Vigilantes?
I mean, as ready as I'll ever be. So, Vigilantes, for the last 3 episodes, we're mostly dealing with this arc of Pop Step putting on a concert, and then, or like putting on another concert, because I believe we talked about that last week initially for the first concert.
They're doing the planning for it.
Yeah.
Like they've done the really rough planning, because episode 11 they're still doing planning at that point.
Yeah. And then we're dealing with this concert, and then we're also dealing with Knuckle Duster is off on his own, being a vigilante and hunting down Hachiska. And boy, is he doing a good job of it. Hachiska's planning on attacking the concert. Knuckle Duster says, no, fuck you. And also you're hijacking my daughter's body, because we find out that little nugget. Or excuse me, we did find that before, but we find out a little bit more about the situation. Essentially, it seems that the person who uses the B quirk took over Knuckle Duster's daughter's body. Her name is Tamo, and is using her to do all of these like evil crimes and whatever. So Knuckle Duster is trying to get the B user out of her without killing her. Well, kind of.
Kind of.
So, Knuckle Duster fights the B user, dies, restarts his own heart, goes and kills the B user by killing the body of Tamo, reaching into her eye with some pliers, ripping out the queen bee, killing that, and then restarting Tamao's heart. While this is happening, Popstep and Koichi are like keeping everyone like at the concert entertained and safe. We see an actual like full musical number with everyone at the concert. And then the episode after that,
that's 11 and 12.
Yeah, it's 11 and 12, and then 13 is kind of just a quick wrap up of we get a quick cameo reel of Present Mike, Aizawa, Midnight. We get all of them for the first concert. And then we also see Ingenium, and I think that's it for
Captain Celebrity's
cameos.
there too.
Yeah, and Captain Celebrity. Koichi gets nabbed by the bat criminal again. Captain Celebrity saves him.
Let's go, CC.
He does a song and is weirdly good at it. And I think that's like about it. We set up the next arc of like what we're gonna do, but I genuinely do not remember too much about it.
They sign off on, they kind of sign off the show with like the idea that Knuckle Duster just kind of exits.
Yeah.
He leaves his mask and his knuckles there and his brass knuckles for them, like in the house. But like it does, the implication from Koichi's like monologue is that he just never comes back.
Mm-hmm. Dad goes to get milk and never comes back.
But he goes to take his daughter to the hospital.
He's done the thing
job,
he wanted to get out of this.
It just
Yeah.
I will say it feels like we know because we followed Knuckle Duster a little bit at the end here, but like it does feel a little empty that he just doesn't ever tell them. Like you could tell them when it was done that was what you could give them that like to let them know, but he's just not gonna, or at least not in this season.
No, he's gonna let the kids
But
live their
that's kind of
lives.
been his whole like
Yeah,
thing with
that
this
is
final
his
section is
thing.
that
Also, he feels like he's-
he feels like this is his problem to deal with. He doesn't want to bring anyone else into it.
He also
Even
know
was
that
very
they-
aware-
Even
kind
though he does.
he's
Yeah,
also very aware that he was
but-
using these kids basically for this goal, right? Like we crossed that like a couple episodes before the
Yeah.
end here, where he's like, "Yeah, they're just bait for me. That's all they are
Mhm.
right now." And I'm sorry, guys, that this has come to this, but like this is the best way for me to save my daughter, so I'm going to use you as bait to try to end this, basically.
There's a lot of things here that I absolutely adore. Mainly in episode 11 and 12, because episode 13 is fine. I don't really have any.
Yeah.
I don't have any particular issues with it. It is just like a Koichi narrates like time will pass. Ending is it's fine. It's whatever. Because we still have the actual big bad out and active, which is your hook. Like he is doing other
Yeah.
things, and he has transitioned in how he is using the drug and what it does to the villains.
Oh yeah, we get introduced to the new villain. Definitely not Solf J. Kimbley.
The boy with the lightning scar.
He
Yeah.
says a thing in episode 12.
Forget what he says.
He says the all for one, one for all thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, doesn't he fire?
Yeah, that's important,
Also,
right?
I am here.
That's like a
lot.
thing that
I'm-
matters. But so
Someone says I am here during one of these also, and it was fire.
we get shout out to it. We get an Endeavor reference. Shit, where we
He's
find out
just
that
kind of mentioned.
we find out Endeavor goes, "Fuck no, I'm not going to a charity concert." I go, "That checks."
Yeah.
I'm like that. My understanding that checks out.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about animation stuff and cool action sequences when we get to 2B Hero. But fucking Vigilantes kills it. With the chase scene with Knuckle Duster and Achiska. That shit looks incredible. And that fight rules. The entire section of it, actual goosebumps during portions of it for me. Just because of how serious he is the entire way through. The music fucking rules for it. The tone is perfect. Something that I think might get overshadowed by that is I think the impromptu pop concert by Popstep is really, really good. Her song is a song she's written about Koichi, and that rules. Like, the lyrics are point for point exactly what happened the day she met him. And that is fucking adorable, and I love it. I really adore episode, I think it's 12 in particular, where most of the meat of that is. I think it's a
Yeah.
phenomenal episode.
Yeah.
By far the best part of this show for me.
I mean, yeah, this is a phenomenal way to have ended off the season. It finishes off where like this what we've been doing. The B user has been dealt with. Again, it does leave us in an odd spot that is. So now Knuckles gone. What do these other two schmucks do essentially from this point?
Especially because
then-
Pop is pushing Koichi out of like a being incredibly active role. Like she wants him to be a little more safe to his well-being, which is probably smart. But that just kind of isn't what he does.
Yeah. I think overall this show, in my opinion, had the best like average throughout, and that it started off strong, it built up well. Yeah, it had some slower portions, but those slower portions were almost entirely there for character development.
Yeah. That's what I would say for sure. Like, any of the episodes that I felt were kind of slower, and, like, I think what they added to the characters in the world was very useful for this cast.
Exactly.
And like, what you're getting into.
Yeah. I think overall, and then this ending was just fantastic. Like the entire Knuckle Duster segment is just incredible, and I think the last episode, while being like a kind of more silly episode, ends off the season well and
Yeah.
just kind of sticks the landing.
Yeah, I mean exactly. Like it's the most like holistic like start to finish show I think we had this season. Right.
Mhm.
And obviously like in the end, maybe To Be Hero X does that. We don't know. It's got a whole nother second
Yeah.
core here, right? So it's impossible to say. And that one's we'll get to it when we get to it. But like this show like had a conclusive 13 episodes. It did an entire long arc, introduced the characters well, followed along the story. They have a good lovable small like central cast with good supporting characters, right?
Mhm.
That like are involved and do affect the story and do change with the story, like Captain Celebrity, and then the guys that they busted early on, like right, who were pop fans, who then became like the Cheer Squad, and then became the Cheer Squad for Celebrity,
Cheer
and then
Squad.
like we're helping them with other things, right? It's like the little support characters that they keep going back to that aren't like don't feel obtrusive to the story progressing, right? They didn't feel like in the way of the story, they were just a part of it, right? As the world developed around them. And so like from start to finish, I thought the show did a really, really good job. I'm probably gonna go read Vigilantes because I know it's really good as a read as well.
When are we getting
Yeah.
the second season for this? That's next year, right?
Next year, winter 2026, early.
Maybe I'll also go read it. Michael likes a lot of it until the end, apparently. The Michael take. I love this manga until it ends. Until it fucks up its ending.
Certainly does some bullshit at the end.
It is a My Hero property.
I thought Base My Hero's ending was perfectly fine.
Fair enough. I don't know. I haven't read it.
Again, that's not a discussion for. I think Base My Hero's ending was fine though.
I mean, that is the current trend with mangas, though, is either the ending's actually bad or everyone just thinks it's bad and it's fine.
Fair.
It's because people are fucking weird.
Because people develop expectations after being attached to something for a long period of time, and their
Again,
expectations they don't make sense most of the time.
People are mad that Kaiji the Parade is ending, and I'm like, my brother in
It's
Christ.
perfect. It's literally
read it?
It's literally the
best
perfect
point
ending.
for it to
It's
end.
oh well, we could talk
Anyway,
about
again,
that another
not a
time.
discussion for now.
Yeah, not a discussion for now.
Yeah.
I think like the only bit for me that's like a miss here, and it is surrounded by wonderful bits because all the bits they run in the concert are pretty fucking good. The pop moment of her passing the center off, and then also kind of still being the center in the performance. It's weird. I will give it that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, they didn't really like follow through with what they were saying they were doing in the show because the other girl was A, still dancing, and B, still moving, and
which
3, not the center.
Which I think in the end,
Which is
what I
fine.
chalked it up to was they went, "Oh, Pop's actually really good at this. We'll just let her be the center anyway." Like
Yeah, but
her
she still
own.
shouldn't be able to move that well.
True.
At one point she like severely high, like a high ankle.
They don't
sprain.
move too
I thought-
much.
I thought they said that she was going to be fine for the performance, but they were practicing in case she wasn't.
Maybe, maybe.
Yeah.
Either way, that's not the part that I'm like mad about. I think the bits where you have the lead guitarist wanting to hit on the girl, and then Koichi just kind of says a comment, and
Dumbass.
everybody looks at him and goes, "You're the fucking worst human being on the planet." I'm not the biggest fan of those two gags. I love the dynamic of the entire rest of the group, but it kind of just felt like we went, "What's Koichi doing here?" Nothing. Someone's gotta bully him again because he always has to be getting bullied on
Yeah,
screen.
he has to be misspeaking because he's Koichi,
Yeah.
and he is unable to like speak his mind correctly.
Mm.
That like some of the shit he says during that, even with some makeup, anyone can look good. It's like damn,
That bit.
that's fucking that's
God
rude.
Damn.
Fucking idiot. Oh.
I also think it's really funny how the two like sisters, their names aren't like two names that go together. No, it's you and Miyu.
Yeah.
That's not like that's not like a silly pun together. There came to be like hee ho, like that'd be funny.
Michael, stop it. Fuck it. I hate you. Hey Mason, you're up again.
Back to back. So, To Be Hero X. For these last 2 episodes that we watched, aside from the one that John watched, thank you again for falling on that sword. We follow
I'm gonna
Queen.
watch it anyways.
I mean, yeah,
Fair.
I'm gonna watch
Yeah.
it too
Oh,
after the
same.
podcast.
Yeah.
By the way, Michael and I have a playlist of things to give you after the podcast. We'll talk about it.
To
Okay.
Be Hero is a very silly property.
Yeah. What if I told you they've been cooking this property for fucking 3
10
years?
years.
Yeah,
Two
well,
and a half
more,
years,
yes,
yeah.
but like they've been putting out content for this like 2 years prior to the anime starting.
Yeah.
Like specifically, X has been cooking for a while.
We'll talk about some stuff.
Yeah. So, for this 2 episode stretch, we're following Queen, and we follow her from every point that we saw her in Cyan's story, essentially, where we first see her when she's making her speech after graduating, or a little bit before this.
We see her
Uh,
take her entrance exam for college, which is the only thing we
Yeah.
hadn't seen before this.
We see her take her entrance exam,
Well-
where she finishes it in 30 minutes and gets a perfect score.
We also get the
Uh,
tournament fight, which is important.
Yeah.
Because
We'll
we
get
did,
that later, but
we did, yeah,
Yeah.
but Michael said, like, the only thing we got that we didn't get was,
no, but like that's mentioned. This is a thing that's
but
never
you,
mentioned.
okay,
in
but it's
Science.
it's so huge that you don't see this. Like,
Well, yes.
I think that's a very
Yeah,
important
but-
distinction.
But also later on in the episode, I think he was specifically talking about the start of the episode.
I mean, yeah, that was
Anyways.
more vaguely, but yeah, whatever.
Anyways, so we see that, we see her give this speech, and immediately from this speech, tons of like female heroes start rising in rank, and we see that a female hero named Boa, she's trading, and she ends up taking the X spot from definitely not Superman. I mean Smile. We see this fight. It's sick.
It rolls, yeah.
It's rad as hell. And apparently this is also how we determine who X is that every year we just have a top 10 duke it out, and that's it. So Boa wins for a year. Queen rises up through the ranks and ends up trying to go for X, and then in this year's
A dude shows up.
yes, a random man shows up and kicks the shit out of everybody without them even realizing it happened. Queen goes to fight him, expecting Boa, and gets him. We don't even get a name for him. He's just X. She goes up against him, and then she just wakes up on the ground and goes, "What happened?" After this,
There's a lot of that.
yeah. After this is when we get a lot of like the Cyan past stuff happening that we got from the previous episodes. Also, Queen gets allegations of cheating, even though she lost because
It's
she's
so
friends
funny.
with Cyan. It's one of those things where it's just like, but she lost. Like,
got-
Yeah,
They're-
guys, kick her while she's down. She's a woman. Yeah.
They're all in
Yeah,
this.
exactly.
They're all in the same company, and they're like, "Oh, she sabotaged someone else under the same company mantle by trying to get good luck from Cyan, but Cyan siphons good luck, so she also got bad luck. So some random asshole wins the tournament. I
Yeah.
love it so much.
it's the most ass backward logic. I love it.
It's
Also,
the
I
exact
forgot.
thing you'd see on Twitter, though. It's
Yes,
the exact thing
uh-huh.
you get
Yes.
huge traction on Twitter, and on like certain news networks, we'll say.
So a thing I forgot to mention as well. We do also get 2 new characters
Yes, go.
here.
They're
The
so
best
the
boys.
best.
We get Lil Johnny and Big Johnny.
Dude.
I put them in specifically that order because Little Johnny is a human man, and Big Johnny is
His son.
A
his
hero.
son.
His
a
son.
hero.
His
Son
son.
of
His
Cat,
son.
I think.
Our son.
Or son. He's now
Our
ours.
son. If anything happens to him, I'll kill everyone in this room and then myself. Like,
No, it's
Okay,
fair.
we gotta
Real.
be careful now. Maybe we shouldn't watch the rest of the show. I don't trust it.
true. So these 2, Lil Johnny just inserts himself into people's lives by having Big Johnny there and just overloading anyone who comes near him with cuteness. That's all he does. I don't know what Little Johnny's power is, but he is a ranked hero.
To be
He
fucking
is
adorable.
He's like rank 6 or something.
He's 15, I believe.
At this point, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot.
We'll,
At this
we'll
point.
talk about it, Michael.
Yeah. And then in the following episode, some shit's been stirred because
Beer.
Mickey
Yes.
sits Boa and Queen down at one point and looks at Boa and goes, "Hey, I know you're X right now, but you have Queen to thank for that because her speech made female heroes better. Tell her thank you." And Boa goes, "No, fuck that bitch." And Queen goes, "I don't need this. Why are you doing this?"
Man walks in
I
and go,
don't care.
women, right?
Yeah.
God, he's the worst.
He's the absolute worst. And Boa gets a little mad about this and also gets mad about how Queen definitely used Lucky Cyan to cheat, even though, once again, I will remind you, she lost.
Also didn't even
also-
go against Boa.
Exactly. Did not fight Boa once.
No, but it's still
Didn't
Queen's
fight
fault
Boa,
that Boa
didn't pick a fight
lost
with
the
Boa,
role of
barely
X.
associated
Also-
with her,
also
still draws
Queen-
anger.
Also Queen's fault because her dad was once a reporter and has there's deep fucking deep fucking
Yeah. Fucking
ties.
Pepe Sylvia, this shit.
Which
Boa's
she's
mad.
actually not wrong about, to be fair.
Yeah.
She is dead right on that part.
But Boa is angry and succumbs to fear and gets really powerful and corners Queen at a dockyard somehow the night before the ranking fights and just kicks the shit out of her for like 15 minutes.
It's going both
And
ways.
Queen fights back. It's just a sick as hell fight. It's just incredible. And Queen ends up finally like taking her down, and then collapsing, and wakes up like 6 days later, and immediately gets out of bed and tries to go for the ranking tournament after, and a nurse has to tell her like, "Hey, no, you're too late. You slept for like 6 days." No,
Bro, it's tomorrow.
It's a couple
yeah.
tomorrows.
Yeah.
And X won again. This random dude. We still don't know what he does. We don't know what his power is. He just wins. He's just insane. And Lucky Cyan and Little Johnny show up to like give Queen some encouragement. I think that's like about it.
There's a couple of things sprinkled in here I want to talk about. Because, like, yeah, this is the final episode of the podcast. We're going to be fucking knee-deep in this show for a while, personally. So, like, let's unpack a couple of things. Queen and Lucky Cyan go on, like, a car trip, and there's a weird monster in the desert, and that's where we cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Which, good for them. I'm glad that Queen has adopted a small family of children, and that she is now a mother.
Yeah, right.
It's my favorite thing is that she's just surrounded by these kids who have just wormed their way
maybe
into her
like 8
heart.
years younger than her.
Not even.
It-
Queen is only like
She's-
20
Yeah,
at this point.
at this
But she
point.
feels so much more like an adult.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
Oh,
because
yeah.
she
they're
has the
fucking
very
daddies.
stone cold, unemotional personality until
Very
bi-
stoic. That's
until
the word I
until
was looking for.
until our son shows up and she goes a cat and she breaks, which is wonderful.
Baby.
fuck.
And then
I
Cyan
can't.
shows up and she goes, "Wait, like
A second
there are
baby.
people that are like aren't the fucking worst in this world. Maybe I can have friends."
But wait, but her music kind of good though.
Yeah, there is a transitional shot, in between, like the stuff with all of Cyan stuff rapping and Queen, and before Queen fights Boa, where we see that her company is investigating X to figure things out about him, and they have like information web graphic, and on that graphic they have some weird shadow figure who they do not name, who seems to be tied to him in some capacity. They have a character who they loosely talk about being an absolute menace named Dragon Boy. Like they describe him as being they describe him as like brutally hurts people, is racist. I think they flat out say that
It
in
is
the sub. In the sub, they
so
flat out
funny.
say like is a racist, like a
Double
problem.
traits, racist.
And like they connect them in some capacity. And then there's also a bit where they connect him to I can't think of his name right now, but the villain from Nice's segment. Not the Enlightener, like the guy who's gay for original Nice. Wreck?
Oh,
I don't remember his
Wreck.
name.
I think it's Wreck. Like they have
Something like
him on that board as well. As if like there was some encounter. And it's neat to see them like world build stuff behind the scenes. Also of note, in episode 11 we see a pink-haired girl, definitely not who we're going to jump to next, considering the fact that
Definitely
she's
not.
the only
Definitely.
character we see who looks significantly important, besides like little Johnny, that we could go to.
It's just always like colored hair individual amongst a bunch of black and brown hair people. I wonder if they're important to the plot progression.
Nah.
Queen's outfit rules, her power set makes no goddamn sense to me, but it's so fucking
No,
cool.
it's so
She
sick.
says like she reminds me of like
A Lancer.
What is that?
Any
Stars
fucking
and
art.
Stripes.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Stars and Stripes from My Hero, right? Where it's like she
That's
sets
true.
rules, but like it's like a small zone basically.
She's also just Gilgamesh.
It's also just sick.
Yes.
Also just Gilgamesh from
It's just
Fate.
sick, bro. Like I'm sorry, black and gold and like silver
Yeah.
is just such a sick color design.
Mhm.
Always, especially like the matte like metallic black they use on her outfit. Oh, it's peak
That
character
helmet
design, bro,
is
for a
so
hero.
sick.
Mason,
Bro,
Michael,
a
you
Valkyrie
two,
ass appearance. Oh, so
you
good.
two know this. I think more than any other part of this show, the fights in these two episodes are the most Ruby fucking coded fights I've ever goddamn seen. The shit is just unhinged peak, and I love it.
There's
They just
fucking
send
crates
it.
flying around and
The weapons are
exploding.
God, the bull
nonsense.
fight's insane.
Yeah.
You do have an axe that has a giant like, chain attached to it or something.
It's a
Fucking
switch
shadow
axe that
disc.
It's a switch axe that turns into what, like bola axes?
I don't know. She does some bullshit with it.
We also
Yeah.
get like a thing where she's got a bullet in her chest. Just does. Just has
Yeah.
it. I think it is incredibly funny that Queen's speech is about how she wants to get rid of trust value, and that like heroes bring this immense amount of destruction that endangers the public, and like her power set is meant to like clearly stop that because she has control over things, which is really cool. And then she fights Boa and just destroys an entire shipyard and everything in like 80-mile radius. It's so
this
funny.
is the most destruction we have seen from any
Anybody.
character in the show up to this point.
Yeah.
But it's
Like,
sick
yes,
as
we had
fuck.
like bigger,
It's
more
so
spectacle
sick.
fights, but like the stuff between Wreck and Nice is just they're
It's
in the middle of a
contained.
fucking field.
Yeah,
It
the Esol
is a
fight's
small
contained.
monument for the Esol fight. Lucky Cyan is at a orphanage, and realistically, the orphanage is fine after the fact.
Probably. I mean, yeah, she doesn't fucking do anything to it.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't get like destroyed again. It doesn't get shut down, probably. But like, that's a separate thing from demolishing an entire fucking shipyard. Like these.
Mm.
I
Sure,
think-
dude.
like national news problem, by the way. Like
I think every character introduced here is rad as fuck.
Yeah.
Like this is great. It fills in every kind of. This really did fill in everything I wanted to get filled in on from the Lucky Cyan stuff that we didn't get. While like finally introducing the man, like it's about time. As little as we did, I like having him. There's also a couple of things that like are setting up for stuff. The only thing that raises a single question for me in the entire episode is they show the big news announcement of God, I'm blanking on his name. But they show the two guys split from the one org, to make like two different hero orgs essentially. One of them gets control of the old one and the other one starts his new one. Which we know he's the guy who's going after Nice now.
FOMO and MG.
Yeah. We know he's the guy in the red who's going after Nice now. Like he wants him. Was kind of where we ended the Nice story stuff with. And the other guy is the guy from the Esol stuff. Which his name is just his name in the Esol stuff. So how doesn't our main character know that he runs this fucking company? He's like, I know he like trims his appearance and he doesn't look like the way he does, but he is just the guy who runs one of the most famous companies in the world. That I'm like, benefit of the doubt, you know.
He may be stupid.
Yeah. But like again, there's a lot of shit happening. I think at this point we've seen all of the heads of like the companies because we get the dude who has the lollipop, who's the last one I think we needed. But don't trust any of them. None of them are good.
Yeah. So if there's anything like to say about it, like yeah, show looks great. Queen's a fucking fantastic character. I love what we get with her. And getting more stuff with science, stuff like that. I wasn't the biggest fan of Boa. I think design-wise, she's really sick. I think the issue is we needed more time with her, and it gets the issue of this is the
Also-
only arc so far that's been 2 episodes. We had to spend an entire one talking about Queen's backstory, and we get about 2 minutes to introduce Boa.
Also,
And I'm just like, I
there's an odd like almost year time jump between when we see Boa starting to lose it and her actually coming for Queen. What was she doing?
she was
Like
just
vibing?
She was just sitting there in her room,
She was
generating more fucking fear.
Rooting for 2
Yeah,
years.
she's just sitting in the room making like the fear miasma around with like floating fucking drops of muck.
I agree. It feels like there was definitely more we were supposed to get because
Tears of the Kingdom down Underdark.
like it feels like the bullet's supposed to be more important. Like there's supposed to be more about it. Like that. Like it's almost it almost feels like they're setting up like a if the bullet gets taken out, she dies kind of thing. Because like that is exactly where Queen gets her at the end of the fight is where the bullet is, and we just don't really talk about it. Like we just kind of leave it. Like there's a lot about her that I would have been way more interested to get a tiny bit more of from her. Especially because I don't inherently hate the idea of like this corporate set up like woman empowerment movement that winds up putting them against each other to like try to move Queen into the forefront, even though she doesn't need it. Like she can do it on her own in her own mind.
He's like, I'm already the strongest woman. What do you mean I need to fight the other woman?
Yeah,
fight X.
Like, well, she's like, I don't need you to tell her to walk away because I will just fight her in the tournament and win. Like, you don't have any. She really does look at him and go, you don't need to be here. Like, the two of us are gonna handle this on our own. But obviously it's because they're doing fucking shady shit.
Yeah, I also understand. And like another thing with Bo is like I understand the idea is that she is quite literally just losing it. She is mad that she no longer has the title of X.
Yeah.
But it's so whack to me that she puts the blame on her losing that title on Queen when she also loses to X in a tournament fight. Like, come on, you just be better, bozo.
That, like, Queen somehow contributed to X beating her was like kind of how it was like kind of framed.
To
But
me,
how does that happen?
So here's how I feel like it goes.
I mean,
is
it's
she
fucking Lucky Cyan luck bullshit.
It's 2 levels
But
deep.
again-
It's like it's her going, I was set up to lose no matter what because because her father has an in with the head of Ore Management Company, so they were always trying to leverage Queen above me in the end, and we both lost because they brought in this Lucky Cyan who just ruined both of us with her luck ability. Like, in her mind, it's both of their faults. And there is that tunnel vision of like, oh, not only was she trying to use her dad in the company to get leverage over me, she started being friends with this girl who has luck powers, and no one else is there to see her go, no, I don't need you to give me good luck for this tournament, I'll just win it on my own. So, like, she starts hanging out with Lucky Cyan, and everyone's like, oh, she was trying to get good luck to win the tournament. Like, I kind of can understand the dangerous pipeline thinking that sets her into a spiral. It is insane, though. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, the idea, it's supposed to be a very intentional sheet.
Yeah.
Kind of overput on, like, the grrr. It's your fault.
Fear preys on weakness.
Yeah.
So, here we are. It's tough for me. Because I really like To Be Hero. And I think of all 3 shows, this show has by far, I think, the most passion behind it. And there's so much shit that goes into it. And it's so complex. And I adore it for that. Vigilantes is also really good.
Yeah.
That is the tough part.
Mhm.
Yeah, and this show has also had a lot of ups and downs. Most of
Yeah.
them being the start of the new arcs were really slow for characters 2 and 3 for
Yeah,
fucking Isol
Mike-
and Lucky Cyan.
Michael and I mentioned this to each other. Maybe 24, 25 episodes also isn't enough for this. Maybe
because with the amount of characters it feels like they want to finish getting through,
10.
everyone from this point has to be 2 episodes. And as we saw with this, just isn't enough time
unless
to
they're
really
gonna start
get into
mixing.
a character.
Unless they're gonna
Yeah, I
start
think that's
mixing
possible.
stuff. It's really that like we don't know exactly what they're gonna do. We don't know who or what they're gonna and not gonna focus on.
We don't know if all 10 of these top 10 are going to be
Yes.
important.
We
It's
won't.
highly possible that like 3 of them just never get focused on.
Yeah,
during
Michael and I won't talk about anything we watched about this outside of it. We'll mention it later to you guys after discussion. We'll do it as like an end of the podcast like thing. We'll talk about some of the extra
between
stuff because there's some crazy shit we do have to tell you.
Mhm.
And that I mentioned earlier, there is a theory about the animation stuff. That
Mappa.
that Michael I showed Michael the post that I found it from, and we read it and we went no, and then we went and checked it and we went fa, it has ground fa. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it, but we'll save it. We'll save it because
it's not that. That's actually fucking sick.
no, it's like a
I have an
stylistic.
idea.
It's a stylistic explanation, for like why the show at times it stopped doing it is what's important, but at times it flip flops from like the 3D to the really like cartoon crisp, like almost watercolor animation stuff. We'll talk about it though. This is tough for me, man. I accidentally opened Opera.
What I will say is, Cinderella Grey, great show. Congratulations on winning 3rd place.
It's really solid.
Right?
I mean,
It feels like another season that show could have won. Is how I look at it. And I'm
Michael
gonna
might
say it
have
right now
different
because
arguments about it.
I think it's really good. However, I think like what To Be Hero did in its first arc set it on the trajectory to be in like this top 2 discussion right away. And I think
Yeah.
the downside of it is I feel like if Lin Ling was the last arc we saw, it might actually be rated higher than where we all view it right now, because it'd be more of a like steep, rise, right?
Yeah, but then
But
there's also
I
the
also
thing
don't
of
know if
does it
gets
even
here without
does it
Lin
make
Ling's
it here
story.
without that as the start?
I think
It
I
might.
think it need. I think it need.
I think it needed it.
I really like it as a start, and I've come around. I'm trying not to be too hard on it because really where I fall with is that is by far the best part of the show for me. But I really do like the other stuff. Like I was very critical during the Isol stuff. It is probably my least favorite of the 4.
I would say it's probably Lin Ling, and then
I like Queen a lot,
then
even though
Lucky, then Isol, but like with a bit of a steep gap between.
Lucky. I
Those
think
last
Lucky
two?
has a higher emotional impact with its final episode than the stuff that with Queen, but like Queen's a really solid 2-episode like set of stuff.
It's like a Game of Thrones where you're following 4 different stories at once
Yeah.
that are all the same story, but they're all individual like sections, right?
Mhm.
And the thing is, the only issue I have with the show, and something I've said like after we first switched to the Isol arc, is like there's so much still to do and talk about, and I just don't. I feel like the plot hasn't really even started. We're just all in the setup and build up phase, and we haven't actually like gotten to the To Be Hero part, right?
Would be
We've got the hero
crazy to
part.
spend 25 episodes setting up another season. It's just all a 25-episode setup. It would be insane for
They
them
just
to do.
announced To Be Hero X
Incredible.
season 2 starts next season. and
They've
it's
been
like,
fucking
what do you mean
working on
next
this.
season?
They've been working on this shit long enough. That maybe
Yeah,
maybe.
It was like 100 episodes just sitting in the woodwork, just like waiting to come out.
And for what it's worth, I legitimately think there is a lot of stuff that I think if certain things were focused more on, it's crazy. It had 3. Did Isol have 3 episodes? It had 3, right?
Mhm.
I still stand by. If it had 4, I think I would love that arc a lot more. Like if you dive just a tiny bit more into the old Isol, I'm fucking adoring that arc more than I
So
did.
It was 4, 3,
3, 2.
3, 2.
Yeah.
Queen being 2 feels really weird because it felt like there was so much that happened in like the 2 Queen episodes, but I think it's because we got like drip Fred Queen stuff
A
throughout
little,
the Lucky
Yeah.
7
Yeah.
stuff that it kind of makes a little bit more sense. And I will
Um,
say, like, not to talk too much about 13, is that like it still carries along because obviously it's following a female hero, so of course Queen is going to be represented in the background. Queen's going to be talked about in the sentence, and same with like Lucky 7 or Lucky Cyan. Lucky 7.
fucking try to
Wish
say
it
Lucky
felt-
Scion's name challenge impossible for me and John tonight.
Listen, there's an ability called Lucky 7. That's
Seven
why it lives
Scion,
rent-free in my
7
head.
Scion, 7 Scion. Shoot me.
You get a moderate stat boost if you're in a gate 7.
Shut
Exactly,
up.
Gate 7.
Shut up.
But like I said, it's still really good.
Yeah.
It still does a lot of good stuff. It's just hard to like quantify. It's always hard to place a show that hasn't finished. That's the problem
Yeah.
I run
Do
into
you-
all the times. It's like,
do you
how much do I
think
value what the show is doing and think it could be versus like what I've seen compared to like a complete show like My Hero Vigilantes was and a completed arc, right? It's like, how much do I value 4 completed arcs versus like what is effectively 2, but a more holistic, like shorter story, right?
and I want to say this while I also like again I probably hold in fact I could say this on my average episode ratings what the shows each averaged out to was that To Be Hero just had a higher average score overall and Cinderella Grey and Vigilantes actually had the exact same final score, but they're all really close. And that feels right to me because I legitimately don't think there's too big of a difference between Cinderella Grey and Vigilantes besides, like, just small thematic stuff that pushes Vigilantes a little over it, like, as a podcast show. Like, it's a little crisper at times on what it's trying to do. It's not just... not to throw shade at it, Cinderella Grey is just a sports show. I don't think it pushes... It looks cool. It looks great. It's horse girls. I don't think it pushes the needle of the sports genre at all. Which is fine. It doesn't have to. It could just be a good sports show. It's a solid 8. Vigilantes just has a little bit more of an edge because its characters, I think, you get a little more mileage out of its cast as, like really deep moments with them. And then To Be Hero is complicated.
To Be Hero, like I said, it's like, I don't know where I would rate To Be Hero right now. I just do not. Because it could be anywhere between like an 8 and a 10, and I just don't know where it's going to be.
So it's
It's
just
so
a matter
hard
of how do you feel about it right now. Is how you have to judge it.
Exactly.
I
Like, I knew I was going to rate before I started today.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof. I mean, I'm gonna do stats before this comes out. By the way, I did change it. Obviously, I caved to peer pressure. I changed the wording on the voting. I also changed how you do it. Oh, I never opened. That's really funny. Hold on. Let me do. That makes a lot of sense. I was wondering why it was like that. I'm glad I did this later. I never opened the voting doc myself. I was still in the original one. So I went out here trying to like put in my stuff and it wouldn't go and I went, that's weird. And I thought about it and went, I think that'll be it for me. But I won't send mine in yet, because we'll wait a second. Because we're gonna do stats. We got some stats to give. My favorite part of the podcast. Stats. I have to get this ready for when we do. What the fuck was this from? What is this nonsense on the back of my notebook? Crazy. I got some stats this season. So largely the things I track in stats are top 3. It should be important to know that we have 11 shows. That part doesn't really matter, but we have 11 shows. There are 4 of us and there are 8 weeks of power ranking. We did not miss a week, so 4 of us, 8 weeks. Every show has a total possible chance of having 32 placements in top 3 over the course of the season. Because it can be in top 3 from any 4 of us 8 times over the course of season 32. So that is the number. So that is the bottom number we're running with for top 3 placements, and then obviously the top number is how many times it actually got placed into top 3. Things I have tracked is, as always, the lowest place a show got and who gave it to it. For that, it is often the first person who gave it that spot. I didn't really try too hard this time to see if anybody else doubled up, like, later on. That usually didn't happen, but it's possible. I also have which of us put what shows in first, second, and third, so that I like when we do this show had this many first place finishes, we can say who didn't put what shows where if we need to know that information. I don't know if I need to wait for Mason. I don't know if he can hear me at all. I do like stats, so I might hold it. I might hold it. There he is.
No,
Sorry, I could hear you.
I wasn't sure. That's why I figured I would just.
Jason's spidey senses tingled. He's like, it's time for stats. No.
Look, I needed some Hawaiian punch. What do
He
you
was
want from me?
zooming.
And I also needed to pee.
That's a mood.
But let's get into some stats. The usual way I will do this. We have only 2 shows over the course of the entire season did not have a top 3 finish.
Zatsutobi.
Correct? Do you know what the other one is?
It's not going to be your forma because I know there's no. I think that'd be too simple.
It might be.
Who gave your former a top 3 finish?
Oh, that
You.
was you.
No.
Oh, okay, that
It
is
your former.
I'm like, you
I
wouldn't
did-
be the only one to put it close to there.
I did do one goofy thing, and we'll get there. So that means we have.
Wait, you put Witch Watch at 1, talking about that goofy
Yeah,
thing?
yeah, that goofy thing.
Yes, I do remember that.
So we have 7 shows with a 3rd place finish. Which ones didn't get the 3rd place finish? That's the easier one. Which ones never got a 3rd place?
No, the same
Uh,
two.
Yep. So Zatsutabi and your former. What's the
Zatsutabi,
3rd
your
show?
forma.
What other show never got a 3rd place finish?
I don't remember all the shows we had on the podcast.
See, my brain wants to say Mono would be one of these. Somebody's like always skirted around Mono hitting 3rd.
Mono did get one 3rd place finish.
Wow.
That was me, I think.
I can tell you. It was indeed Mason.
See, then my brain wants to go. Lazarus did that same thing where it like skirted around a 3rd place really
Correct.
early.
Lazarus did not get a 3rd place finish. That is the other one.
Yeah, it probably hit like a 2nd and then dodged a 3rd or something.
So I will
Yeah.
give you this information. Mono, Rock is the Lady's Modesty, and Gundam all had one 3rd place finish.
Gundam is me.
Yes, it is, and Rock is, I think, me. Actually, it might not be. Hold on.
I think it was you.
No,
'cause I don't think I put it up
it's
there.
you, Mason, from week
it's
1.
me?
It's you
Okay.
week 1.
Okay. Yeah, week 1 was the week that I just kind of threw. I had a top 2 and a bottom 2 and threw everything else randomly.
Top 2, bottom 1.
What? We'll do it. Hold on. So, we'll do it this way. So your former Zatsutabi both don't have 2nd place finishes. 2 other shows also never got a 2nd place finish. What were they? Oh, sorry, I was wrong. Witch Watch also never got a 3rd place finish.
Oh, okay.
I missed that one. My bad. Spoiler, Witch Watch is also here. What's the other show besides Witch Watch, your former, and Zatsutabi that also never got 2nd place?
Probably Mono.
No, maybe Mono.
It's not Mono.
Not Mono.
See, now I'm forgetting what the list is at this point. I don't fucking know.
I don't
man.
know. I don't know who put.
Once Upon a Witch's Death,
Who put mono? No.
Rock is Lady's Modesty.
Who did put? No.
I mean, I know Once Upon a Witch I had it too, at least
Who
one
did
time.
put
Yeah.
mono? I didn't mark that down. I actually don't know which. Oh, it was Mason again.
Yeah,
It's Gundam. Gundam never had a
Oh,
second place finish.
yeah.
Yeah, I forgot what the list currently was. And I was like, I don't know.
Let's play the fun game. What shows had a first place finish in the season?
Our
My
entire top
Hero-
four.
Yeah, our entire top four.
You're
okay,
correct. Yeah,
top
Once
four.
Upon a Witch's Death did have a first place finish. That's true.
Yes, 'cause it came from me. Yes.
Yes, it did.
Which one?
Correct.
Um,
Do you think there's any others?
to,
Just not.
Was
There's
it
only those
Lazarus?
5. There's only those 5.
is it just? I was like, you may have put Rocket one time. but
Lazarus had a
silly.
second. Lazarus had a second place finish from John. Week 1, which is fair. So before I reveal numbers, the lowest place, the highest lowest place any show had was 6. That is Umamusume and To Be Hero both had their lowest place at 6. I put To Be Hero at 6. Mason put Umamusume at 6.
Yeah, that's
Vigilante.
probably like
I had Vigilante's lowest placement as well, which was 8th at one point. I think that was week
Dang.
1. I think I had it really low week 1. I was not sold on it yet.
That's fair.
fair enough.
All of us equally put Zatsutabi in its lowest ranked place 11. Where it went off week 1.
Yeah, that show's
Unanimously.
bad.
Correct.
Show's bad.
That is Journey off the fucking podcast.
So here is let's play a game. How many first place? What show do you think has the most first place finishes?
If it's not To Be Hero, I think
To Be Hero.
wild. To Be Hero was like consistently number 1 for
for
a
a
few
while. Yeah.
It is To Be Hero. How many do you think it had out of 32 possible?
Out of 32,
I think 20. So, 19. Go with 19.
19.
Yeah.
15.
Okay.
17. So I like middle numbers.
It is 19.
Let's go.
It is 19. What show do you think had the most second place finishes?
Vigilantes.
Yes, how many do you think it had?
I don't know, man. Okay, so I'm trying to look at my thing and guess other people's numbers off of like estimating from me. But I'm gonna do it anyway.
Most second places? Probably My Hero.
It is My Hero, yeah.
Wait,
How
okay.
many?
John.
It's late.
Oh, 15 again.
19 again.
17.
No, actually 18.
Lower, 13.
Okay.
That's gonna give you some insight to the other numbers. What show had the most third place finishes? Who could it be?
I should also be My Hero Academia Vigilante. It's
Umamusume.
possible.
It is Umamusume. How many third place finishes do you think Umamusume had?
9. No. Okay.
So if I do the math off of mine, that means you would get 8.
Did anybody else but
Yeah.
Michael put Umamusume at third all season?
No. So the math is I put it at third twice.
Oh, okay.
Which means it
okay.
misses 6 times per
There you
person.
go.
So
Yeah.
that's 24 off the total, giving you 8
Okay. You
off
think
the back.
8?
I would have been off by 1 if I
I
did
think
that to the
so.
My Hero number. That would have been 12 for My Hero.
I'll tell you, it's 14.
Oh.
And so what this wound up having have happen is, I'll give you the numbers for our top 3 shows. Umamusume, 3 first place finishes, 8 second place finishes, 14 third place finishes, giving it a total of 25. For its final number, which is a 78% finish rate in top 3. Vigilantes, 8 first place finishes, 13 second place finishes, 6 third place finishes, putting it at 27, giving it an 84% top 3 finish rate. To Be Hero X had 19 first place finishes, 5 second place finishes, 3 third place finishes, giving it also 27 top 3 finishes. For again 84%. Next thing that was even remotely closest for top 3 finishes is Once Upon a Witch's Death at 10, which puts it at 31, which actually isn't that bad considering how it, I mean, for the 4th place show, that's, with a season like this, about what I would expect. Nothing else had above a 6, for the couple of things that had 2, and then things that had 1. So yeah, I mean, that to me shows a really heavy lean on To Be Hero at the beginning, having pretty unanimous first and second, like, full first place finishes for a while. And then Vigilantes kind of throughout its run just consistently had across the board pretty okay top 3 places. Like, not just, it wasn't just, like, of our 3 shows in top 3, it had its lowest, it dominated its finish place category by the least amount. And it just had pretty good numbers elsewhere. If you're curious, Once Upon a Witch's Breakdown was 1 first place finish, 3 second places, 6 third place finishes. So yeah. While I get this ready, let's you and I yap about some To Be Hero stuff before we get into results. So let me share the thing. Mason, you said you had a guess about the animation thing. You want to guess what?
I have an idea that it's or a theory that it's just something that X does, where like at a certain point he does a thing and it changes the art style from the 2D to the 3D in the timeline.
It's, to our knowledge, the theory is opposite. He changes it from 3D to 2D.
Okay.
Because, and the two moments for this are the Nice and Wreck fight and the Esol fight. The Esol fight. At which the idea is that he has, and the theory is in the anime opening, he snaps. It's a very clear sound effect. You very clearly see him do it. Before the animation changes of both those fights, you can hear the snap. It is there. You can audibly hear it.
Hell yeah.
And perhaps that video Michael linked from 2 years ago? Is that how long that's from, Michael?
Yes.
Which is just an entire little segment about X doing shit. There's no dialogue. He put it a little higher. You want to repost it, Michael? Make it easier for them to find it.
Yeah.
Someone
Sorry, someone posted it. Someone posted a picture of a Sea of Thieves thing in another server, and I had to figure out what island it was. I didn't actually have to. I just thought it'd be funny to do. That's why I've been staring intently at my screen. But yeah, it was 2 years ago. Yeah, Fire as visual. It's a 6-minute, essentially, music video.
Which is a lot of what these are. There's an entire playlist of this shit. And I'll talk a little more about those in a second. As we go. Because Michael and I watched the few for the characters we've been introduced to.
Yeah, but this essentially just shows X is using his power, which is he has the ability to move him and himself between an alternate dimension that changes the art style, and he has like full control over this alternate dimension. This video's fucking awesome. You should watch this video.
I have it up.
Yeah, and also,
that's cheating.
A really cool thing that comes out of this video, is that it ends. Well, it starts with you see a dog. If you recognize that dog from the opening, that is number 8 in the opening. He is number 8 on the hero ranking. He is right above Esol.
Because I guess I'll interject here. So it dawned on me. It dawned on me here. This set of episodes. Why the order in the opening is the way it is. The first time they showed the character reveal, it counts from 1 down. So it has X, it goes Queen. You see a bunch of people we don't know. And then you hit Lucky Cyan, Dog, Esol, Nice. And then it does it in the reverse order, where it goes from 10 back to 1.
I'm saying, bro, her being number 7 is so funny, though.
Yeah, Lucky number 7. But yeah, so we see in the opening, little Johnny is gonna get to, I think he's I want to say he's 5. He's 5 or 4. Because I know who I recognize the character for. Getting the shot for the character in 3rd place is a little tricky at times. I'm pretty sure it's Dragon Boy, by the visual. But yeah, they have just flat music video stuff where it's they do like they have character PVs, and then they have those same character PVs with just the music over it for each of the characters' like themes, which are the ones that usually play during their big fights. The character PVs, Michael and I only watch the ones for the characters we really know. So we only watch the ones for Nice, Isol, Lucky Cyan, and Queen. They're very interesting. All the stuff for Nice is content stuff for like actual Nice, not our main character.
It's same with Isol. Isol follows the old
it follows the old Isol. There is some crazy fucking shit in the Isol PV. It's like a lot of the stuff that they like loosely talk about in the Isol arc, where they're like, he once used his power in this particular way, and he hasn't used it that way since. And it gives you context to the memorial that they fight at in the Isol arc. It's really cool. It doesn't add... I was not taking it into consideration for the bullshit that we had this season, because we didn't engage with any of it. The Lucky Cyan ones, just kind of... It's a nice one. It doesn't... There's stuff there. The Queen one's interesting. And that it's like... Even... It's backstory for her from when she's like a child.
Okay.
Yeah. Which implies that this organization head guy who runs like their company has been really close friends with her dad for a pretty long time. Visually, they're all stunning. They rule. Also, it has her fighting Firm Man, which I don't know where in the ranking fights. I don't know where the fuck that would happen. I guess somewhere in her process to get in the top 10, maybe. Like it's possible. It's possible there's an overlap somewhere where that happens. But it is a little weird to have. I'm trying to think if there's fucking anything else we gotta talk about.
I don't know. But again, it's a lot of really cool stuff you get out of this. Yeah. The dog's like mentioned in someone else's thing or something, or just like in one of the generic ones. Because that's where you learn. Because his thing seemingly is that he's just like King from One Punch Man, where he gets the credit for something he didn't do, and that's what shoots him up to being popular.
There's a general character PV where it rolls through the whole cast, that Michael and I did watch, loosely, and in that it like opens with him with the dog at a press conference, and that ties into the video Michael also sent. Yeah. It does lots of cool stuff. They've been fucking cooking this for a while, and they put out post stuff, like on their site and probably on their social medias where they drop like lore stuff about like the world. So like they have all the names of like the management companies out there already prior to the series, and like they explain the hero commission date system, and give you fancy names for horrible events that have happened before. So, like, if you're, like, a super fan, like some people on Reddit are, who have been following this for a pretty long time, like, they're fucking knee-deep in this shit. It's cool. It's really cool to put that much care and love into something. Doesn't impact our podcast. What does impact our podcast is that I have the final results.
Yippee.
So, I will tell you, there are no surprises. There is no tie. There is just a flat outcome. So, 3rd place, Cinderella Grey, 5 points. 2nd place, To Be Hero X, 8 points. 1st place, Vigilantes with 11. I'm surprised by this because this means I'm the only person who put To Be Hero in 1st. And I've been probably the hardest asshole on this show the entire season, which is really funny. To be fair, I've been hard on this show mainly because its Japanese sub is bad. crazy, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not even this. It's not even the English sub. The English subtitles are good. It's the subbing on the Japanese. I literally, I told
dubbing.
Michael came in. Yeah, the Japanese dubbing. Michael came in. I was watching the second episode, and I went, Michael, I'll show you when I'm done with this episode. When I'm done with episode 12, what happened? I play him the beginning of episode 11. I play him the dub version, which he's heard, and the scene in particular is Queen. It's Queen coming to the academy, to take the test, and she walks through the crowd and people talk about her. And then there's a scene where she's just walking, and nobody's like, there are whispers, but nobody's saying anything. And I played the Chinese version, which is how I watched these last 2 episodes. I watched them with the Chinese audio and the English subtitles. I had a perfectly fine time. This is probably how I will continue watching it, just because it's what I'm gonna do. And again, same thing, no problems. I play the Japanese audio for Michael, and as she is walking, there are no subtitles, and someone just says something. Like, loudly audible. Like, to a point where you go, that should be subtitled. Like, it's not one of the whispers, and it's not anything that gets said in any other dubbing. I don't know what's going on with it. It's insane. It's an insane thing to have had happen. I'll talk a little bit quick. I legitimately do still think on punch for punch, quality, content, I think this is probably the best show of the season still. Even in its 12 episodes. I think there's a lot of love for this. But it was close for me because that end fight with Knuckle Duster and Hachisuka is really fucking good. And the way the story wraps is really solid. And you are right, it does do a full circle, and it does a really good job of taking things it introduces earlier and wrapping it back up at the end. And while I don't think like it has as satisfying of a like, here's your send-off to next season as Cinderella Grey does, which is probably the right way to word that compared to how I was wording it earlier. Vigilantes is still really good. I just personally think that, like, I will give it to To Be Hero. I think its first 4 episodes might be some of the best anime, technically not anime, I've ever watched. We're doing the funny where it's Chinese, so it's technically not anime, but it's still on our anime podcast as a
I
Don
believe is the word.
Yeah. Like, I really do think the Nice arc might be some of the best, anime adjacent things I've seen. And I do think the highs stood up to the rest of the show, despite me being down on it at times, were really solid. But that's why I put it first. I don't disagree with any of you for putting Vigilantes first. I think it's a completely reasonable take. I really do think this could have gone either way, and I think it's totally normal to have a show that I think it's totally normal to have a show that's not done, not feel comfortable enough to give it the first place when something sticks its landing well, and feels full circle like Vigilantes does.
Look, this is one of the few times on podcast where I've had 2 shows in the top 3 and felt comfortable putting one of them at second. I didn't care which one. To be perfectly honest, I think both these shows are incredible. I just think Vigilantes stuck the landing a little bit more, which is understandable considering To Be Hero still has 12 or 13 more episodes. I don't know.
An amount.
Let's see. Mason has been in this spot back during the Kaiju season, back during the Licorice Recoil season, and during the Ranking of Kings season. He also had 2 shows in top 3 in the Vanitas season.
Yeah.
You did this a lot.
Yeah. If I have a show in top 3, I usually have 2.
Mason like picking good shows and shit.
Crazy.
See,
I have good
you
taste.
didn't last season.
It's been a little bit of a drought.
You didn't during Dungeon Meshi. You didn't during Hell's Paradise, but you won. So like, you didn't during Trigun, but you won. So like, yeah, your track record. Mason probably has the best track record on this podcast. Crazy.
Yeah.
Why do we keep letting
picks
him?
good shows
Why do we
instead
keep
of
letting him get away with it? Well,
picking PA word
he
shows.
picks one bad show and then he picks 2 really good shows.
Correct.
That's his
I
fucking
don't even
pattern.
think look, most of the time my third show isn't bad, it's mid.
Sometimes
I
it's
will-
really bad.
Sometimes it's really bad. Fantasia Sango was a fuck up, but I also literally didn't pick it. I didn't read anything on that show. I
Orient?
just went. Orient was fine.
I mean,
It-
Nori
was
wasn't that
mid.
bad.
yeah.
Like I said,
I'll
it's
give you.
mid.
I'll give you
It's-
mid. I'll give you mid. Do we have any closing thoughts?
Haunts.
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 Yeah, go ahead. Give like a horse girl spiel, I guess, about why people should go play the mobile game. We'll say we're
Bro.
sponsored, but we're not.
I know why. It's peak. There you go. Done.
Because the game fun.
Yeah, game fun.
Is Northern Lion changing his name to Northern Horse?
Maybe.
No, Northern Lion is probably his horse name, bro.
True.
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 That would be a
Real.
horse
That's
name.
true.
That'd be a fucking Umamusume name. When's the
Honestly, that's
patch that
true.
comes in and we get the special collaboration with English streamer Northern Lion with Northern Lion Umamusume? It's just him as a cute anime girl.
Yeah, where's my banner that's him and Peter Premiere 2 as horses?
So
Dude,
nonsense. Well, there
The
you go,
fact
guys.
that like my timeline is all Umamusume with streamers playing it's
Again,
bro, I can't.
Game
Fucking
fun.
Seeing Coney play it
Haunts.
just sent me today.
That's betting. It's almost like betting. I believe it.
Uh,
Well, that's gonna wrap us for the spring season. We'll be back momentarily to pick for the